All right, guys. In the background, you can see Nick. He is fertilizing the clover that we just cut. This is the clover we cut last episode for the haylage. You can see it's already starting to grow up. We got a good rain last night. I don't remember how much. I'd say an inch or so of rain. But he's fertilizing it, getting it ready. We're going to try to get a second cutting off of it later on in the fall. Get a couple more, another 100 bales or so. But anyway, we wanted to. We've kind of neglected doing all the questions and answers. Nick might get too close to me, but Bill Taylor from Texas, he wanted to know. Hey, Bill, by the way, Bill's a great friend. He's been out here a lot. We're gonna be really loud here.
It's gonna hurt.
Bill wants to know. We're fixing to cut it. But my good friend Bill Taylor from Texas sent in a couple questions. There's about 2 or 3 questions, so we're going to try to answer those. And so if you got any questions about us, please send them in. I think we're out of questions, so after I do these, we'll be done. So get us some questions in. But Bill wants to know, what kind of feed and mixture do you put in the feeders, and which are located out on the ranch? Bill, this is basically the same feed that we're doing in this, the TMR mix that we're doing into the preserve, and then we also take fodder out to the pens, out into the preserve. So I know in the past y'all didn't see any of the fodder, but the fodder will be out there this year, so y'all get to see it, get to see the deer eating it a little bit, if they leave any of it. The suckers clean it up about as fast as we put it out there. They're really liking it. So same stuff. If it's good enough in the preserve or in the pens, vice versa, it's good enough at the other places. So we make sure we have our good vitamin mineral in that TMR mixture. So, and in the fodder as well. So that's helping reduce the ticks and stuff out in the preserve. Your second question says also, without giving away any secrets, can you tell us a little bit more about the breeding operation, how you determine which deer and when to release them into the preserve? Bill, we don't have any secrets. We pretty well tell everything we've got. In our breeding operation, we've got 100 breedable doe. What we're trying to produce is at least 100 buck fawns coming off of those 100 breedable doe every year. So once they are weaned from their mama, we turn them loose out in the preserve. We will keep a few of them back that are really good in genetics that we think might want to be a breeder. We might want to be a breeder if we're looking for a breeder. Might keep them back till they're 2-3 years old, see what they're doing. And then, so we do that. Also, our cull doe out of our breeding facility, which are producing 200-inch typicals on a consistent basis by the time they're 2 years old. Every year we'll have probably 20 to 30 deer that bred doe that we release out into the preserve. Those deer are, they naturally have the fawns out there, so that's giving us our new genetics out in the preserve. We're harvesting the older genetics that are out there, releasing these new genetics. Every year the genetics are getting better and better and better, and that's how we've been able to produce 33 of the top 35 typicals and 30 of the top 35 non-typicals. We just keep raising the bar. Our cull deer are breeder deer just about anywhere else, so they're that's how we do that. There's no secrets to it. The only deer that will have tags in their ear are those doe or their fawns that came in occasionally. So that's maybe 5% of the buck, probably 30% of the buck actually have tags in their ear. Everything else is born and raised out there on that preserve. They don't have tags, or so. Let's see here. I've seen some fantastic 2- and 3-year-old bucks out on the ranch. Looking forward to seeing you again. He said, how do you determine a mature deer? That's just experience. Most of our deer, by the time they're 2 years old, they're out in the preserve. They are running. We're wanting them to be about 180 to 250 inch 2-year-olds. That's giving us the quality deer that we want by the time they're 3 years old. So a lot of times people have, the naked eye, the people that aren't experienced with it, they have issues trying to decide, tell a 280 or 220-inch 2-year-old you can't shoot it, and it's hard to tell because they're weighing 250, 300 pounds. They're big-bodied deer. The genetics we've got are big-bodied deer. They're fed well. So that's just from the guides. We cheat, don't get me wrong. We do a lot of trail cameras. We look through trail cameras. And all summer long, my guides are coming in and we're looking at bodies and we're looking at horn structures and we're trying to pick out a deer that's got a drop tine here or a kicker here or that. And we have a consensus that, and we get together and we decide, okay, that deer is 3 years old or that deer is 2 years old, but he needs to be taken out of the herd because we don't want him breeding. If a deer is 2 years old and he's got short tines, short beams, he's not scoring 180 to 250 inches, or he might be too non-typical, we want him out of the herd. We don't want him doing any breeding. We want our 3, 4, 5, 6 year old deer doing all the breeding. So the deer that grow to maturity, true maturity, you can't tell they're not mature by the time they're 2, 3 years old on our ranch, but we want those to be those big, wide open, framey deer that are going to be possibly record book deer. It's just a feel, it's just talking to each other, trying to figure out which deer is which deer are mature or not, or if they're not mature, do we want them in that herd, do we want them breeding? It's tough, don't get me wrong. Do we mess up? You betcha. We mess up, we shoot some young deer, we let some young deer go till a little bit too old. It's just, we're very strict in our management, we're very strict. Our management deer around here are most people's trophy deer, but that's the way we've been able to get ahead of the game and get ahead of everybody else, is just being so strict. It hurts sometimes, but you got to do what you got to do. I hope I answered your questions. Please, guys, send in questions. The new bone, I always want to say bone factory. Billy Sage, you got me on your bone factory. I can't not say it. So our bone cam is coming out every week. We'll give a 15 minutes of some deer that are breeder deer. They are in a pen. They do have a tag in their ear. We're looking at these young yearling deer to see if we want to breed with any of them. So it is what it is. They've got tags in their ear. They're not in the preserve. They're not huntable deer. Make sure you watch that. It's pretty interesting just to watch them every week. You're going to be able to see how they progress, how much they grow, how much they do. You'll be able to pick out your favorite deer. You know, one of them might come up. I think 161 came up last week and got right up in the camera. You can look at his tag and you can keep up with that deer and watch him, how he grows. Pick you out a deer and see which one's going to be the biggest in the pen at the end of the year. Let's see who's right. I enjoy it. It's interesting. Hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned with more episodes of On the Ranch with Oak Creek.